Hello, everyone, and welcome. We're out at one of the spots, our favorite spots, where we like to come and camp. And we realized the other day that we've been so busy this year testing out this spot and that spot and looking at that spot and going here and going there, and we haven't camped here yet this year at all.
We traveled.
We camped. I went down the trail the last time, and I camped down on the rock. And in the spring, I camped down below here, right down by the water, but we never actually camped up here. We've always camped up here in a tent, but since we bought the hammocks this spring, we haven't camped here. I didn't bother bringing our camp chairs. We're sitting on the chairs we built in May of last year, 2021. So they've wintered well. They're still solid. They're still comfortable. We're here for the weekend. We set up the hammocks, and it should be a great time. So stick around and see how things go. This is where we usually put the tent. And I was looking all over around here. The only other spot that we could have put a hammock between two trees is back there, but back there, there's a huge pine tree with a lot of widowmakers on top. I don't want to lay down underneath it. I don't trust it. So I'm staying on this side where I'm safer and out of the way. But we only had one good spot where we could set up a hammock. So I set up Anne in there, and the video I did last week where I used my tripod, I built a tripod and hung with one tree, is just down through the trail here. So I went to get my tripod and I set it up here. Both hammocks are set up. Got my tarp underneath to keep the stuff dry, keep my shoes on when I crawl into the hammock at night. And it gives me a dry spot that I can put my feet when I'm getting out of the hammock. I put Lucy under my hammock out here so that she could be close to us when we're sitting by the fire. Anne is in here, tucked into the trees. I've looked. There's nothing dangerous above. We've got her tarp set out on a flat so that she's got room to walk around under here. It's not supposed to rain for the next couple of days, so this should be fine. If it looks like it'll rain, I'll bring the top of her tarp down, and I'll do the same for mine. I'll take the pole in the center and I'll drop it down so that the water runs off and we're well protected. So this is pretty much the setup. Anne is back there, tucked into the trees. I'm right here under my tripod with Lucy's bed under my tarp. And the fire pit is over there. This is that other little clearing I was telling you about where I could have possibly put a hammock. But I would have had to tie the hammock from this tree over to this huge tree. And that's the one that has a lot of dead branches up top, a lot of widowmakers that I'd really not rather have fall on me while I'm sleeping. So I use this area to cut my firewood. Even when we're in the woods, she has to clean. Working away with her nice little homemade broom. She actually made that broom 2 years ago. It's still going. This right here was our very first bushcraft build. This was in the fall of 2020. It's a little over 2 years old. We actually built an outhouse. All tied with paracord. Not a nail in there. Even the seat is tied on with paracord. What a great time we had out here camping and building this thing. So it's 9:30. Pitch black out here. I think clouds have rolled in again because I don't see a star in the sky. Oh, but it's beautiful. Weather's gorgeous. Anne's already crawled into bed. She's laying down. I think she's reading for a little bit and then going to sleep. I'm gonna sit here and enjoy the fire for a short while and then probably go to bed myself. We sat here and spent most of the evening reminiscing about how this was our first foray into bushcraft at this spot here. We came up, we set up the tent over where I showed you earlier. This whole rock was covered in duff. I moved some of it and discovered rock, so we cleared an area and made the fire pit. And then we sat here one night and it rained, so we put a tarp up and we sat under the tarp, but our feet were getting wet because of all the duff was holding the water. So we eventually cleared off the entire rock. That's when she made her broom and everything. She built this table that's behind me. She actually had built it over there. And last year, we built these chairs and we set the chairs here. And she decided she wanted to move the table to this side. So this table here is just a board that I found back in the woods when I was looking for firewood. So I hauled it out and we had a rock here we were using and I cut a stump and now we have a perfectly good table. Well, I'm going to enjoy the fire and we'll see you in the morning. Morning, everyone. I'm just boiling some water. I've got my oatmeal in my bowl. And I'm going to start getting some coffee going. We had a great night last night. I slept fantastic. But some of you may have noticed I'm using a different tarp this time. The tarp that comes with the hammock, it's meant to be set up in diamond form, and I find it doesn't quite cover enough. It's great for when the weather's nice. Like this weekend, they're not calling for any rain, although the clouds are a little gray this morning, but they're not calling for any rain. So it's fantastic for that. But it's getting a little cooler at night, and I wanted something a little bigger. And then on our trip to Thunder Bay, our last night, we got caught by a wicked rainstorm. Rain was blowing in sideways. Nothing I can do about that. Not with the tarps we had. Now, I was looking into it, and one tigress has a tarp. It's a 12 foot by 9.5, I believe. But it has a lot of different tie-out points. So what it does is, from the corner, about 2 feet in, there's a tie-out there. So you tie that out, and you do the same on the other side. And that leaves you with a corner flap. So at night, you can close those flaps just by staking them on either side. Or actually, I think what one tigress did is they put a piece of shock cord on that corner with a small carabiner. So you take the corner from this side and you put the carabiner on the guy out from the other side, and then you do the same with the other door, and it brings your doors in close. If it's windy, it'll block some of the wind from coming in. If it's raining, it'll block the rain from coming in. It's a great idea. Looked into them. They're just over $100, and there's 2 of us. So it gets pricey. I had a tarp at home that I had bought at Canadian Tire by Woods. It's $30, but it's 12 by 9. So that's what I'm using this weekend. I wanted to see if it would work, but I couldn't remember how many grommets are on it. And when I set it up, there's only 8. There's 1 in each corner, 1 in the middle on each side, and that's it. So you've got 3 one side, 3 one side, and then 1 in the center on both ends. I don't have that 2-foot grommet. So I'm thinking I may find a way to attach a grommet, or I've got a little bit of canvas at home. I may just cut little strips and sew a small grommet on there, or at least a small loop that I can tie off to. And at some point, I'm going to try and get that done, and then come back out again, set it up, and test it out and see if it's going to work. If it's going to work, $60 for both of and both of us are covered is way better than $260. We were sitting here last night, just before dark, and we could hear knocking. And says, "Well, that sounds like a woodpecker." I grabbed the phone. I went walking down the trail. And so far this summer, every time I've seen a woodpecker, I can never get the camera ready on time. And I got the camera and I started to go down, and he was on a dead birch up towards the top. But I was actually in a spot where I could get a picture of him. So I managed to get a picture. It's not a fantastic picture, but I got a picture. But I also took just a short clip. So I got a video clip of him banging away at the tree. Well, I guess I'm going to get a bit of coffee into me, and then I might go and gather up a bit more firewood for tonight. I love this little coffee filter. We've been using this for 2 years now, and it's the same one. They're tough, as long as you're careful with them. Yeah, Lucy, you can't bury your food with a rock. Oh. Mm. Yep, that's what I was waiting for. So I finished my coffee, and I came in the bush back behind where we're camped to look for some dead standing, see if I can get some firewood, and at the same time, I wanted to gather up a bit of birch bark to help me light the fire. Spotted this, and I came over to grab a bit of birch bark, and lo and behold, that is a big pile of chaga. It's not huge, but it's growing. And that is fantastic. I'm going to be back once it gets colder, and I'm going to come and gather some of that up. I won't take it all. I'll probably just take the bottom portion here and let the rest keep growing, because I don't want to kill it. I just want to gather some. Great for fire starter, and it also makes a very delicious tea. The lunch today is quick and easy. We toasted the rest of the hamburger buns. Put a little bit of mayo. Slice of cheese. A little bit of bacon. Catch the runaway wrappers. Okay, that wind could stop anytime now. There's not a lot, but it's just enough that it keeps messing with the wrappers. There. And then some scrambled eggs. Mm. Looks delicious. Mm-hmm. Yep, tastes delicious too. Anne just went and laid down in her hammock and she's reading her book for a while. I decided I'd take a little walk and have a look around. This is a pretty popular fishing spot. What do I find? Fire pit full of beer cans. If you're going to carry them in full, they're a lot easier to carry out empty. Really? I should not have to carry this out for you. Big part of coming out here is to come out and enjoy nature. There's no beer cans in nature. You want to carry them in and have a beer while you're here, that's fine. When it's empty, carry it back out. It's not that difficult of a process. This is what we want to come out in nature to see. So while I'm out walking around, I just found another spot where chaga is growing. I definitely got to come back here when it's colder. Just to give you an idea of some of the things we go through just to camp in different spots. This is the trail to one of our other spots out here. That trail is almost impossible to see. And if you don't know where you're going, you're never gonna make it. This is the spot where I did my very first hammock camp this spring. And then Anne and I came back the following week and did it again. This is down another trail. Can you spot it? Believe it or not, it's right through there. Watch your footing. This is where I set up when I did my single tree hammock. See that little island way off in the distance? That's where we do our island camping when we come out this way. This is what I was saying this morning. If I add a tie out point right here, then I can pin this down here and that frees this up. I could take that corner and drag it to that side and hook it on the same loop on that side. Then I can take that corner from that end and come and hook it over here. And what that will do was close these ends so that if there's any wind or rain driving this way, that'll stop it. Anna and I decided, we took apart the fire pit, we cleaned everything underneath, got rid of all the pine needles and stuff that was stuck under the rocks. It was starting to get a little shaky anyway, and we rebuilt it again, only this time we built this side a little higher so that it'll push the heat towards our chairs. So now that we've got the fire pit all built up, Anne wants to try and light the first fire in it. We've got some lichen in there with a little bit of cedar bark fluff and a little bit of birch bark. And there it goes. Awesome job. So in honor of our new fire pit, we are going to have an amazing dinner tonight. We are having gourmet style hot dogs.
This is Lucy's supper. Back. Lucy back. Sit.
Morning, everyone. So this is what's happening with that mic last night. This little thing slides into the camera, and it's the receiver for the mic that I wear. The wind blew the camera over, which it has done a million times. But now this piece is loose. So I think the connection is broke inside. So it's not receiving my mic anymore. Luckily, I have an extra one at home. I'm still deciding whether I want to keep using that mic or not. It's been working okay, but it has its problems, like that. The phone drops, it's always a worry. And I have no idea how it's going to react in the cold once the snow starts to fly. But we'll see. We'll cross that bridge when we come to it. As for last night, we had a great night. We cooked up some hot dogs over the fire. we sat around and chatted for a bit. And then when it got dark, the stars all came out. But from under here, there's a lot of branches up there. There's not a lot of clear spots to get a good view of the stars. So we waited till it was really dark. And we went out on that rock point where I cleaned up the fire pit yesterday. From there, clear view of the sky. It was gorgeous. So we sat down there and watched the stars for a while. Came back up here and warmed up by the fire and crawled into bed. It's the evenings are definitely getting cooler. I was nice and cozy in the hammock, but when I got up this morning, it was a hurry up and get your clothes on. Not as bad now. The sun's starting to come up. I got a little fire going. Once the sun gets up a little higher, I won't need the fire anymore. Warms up fast. Never in a million years thought when I bought that hammock that I'd be spending an entire summer in it. I figured it would be something that I would pull out once in a while, do a trip with the hammock, go back with the tent so that the two of us can be in the tent. But she ended up loving the hammock as much as I do. She doesn't want to go back to the tent. Oh, that's good coffee. So that's it. Another weekend in the books. It was a great time. If you liked what you saw, go ahead and hit the like button. If you want to see more of it, hit the subscribe button. If you're going to do that, hit the notification bell. It'll let you know whenever we put out a new video. Thanks for watching.